Okay, we're back from changing the recording, the equipment. So do you have a response to Dr.
Yes, so
Balastrasi?
with Dr. Balastrasi, I promise you that there's opportunities for students to delve into issues, relevant issues, current issues, and not deal with just a parade of dates, parade of events from long ago. The issues, the curriculum is really based on, our work is based on work that's come out of the state of Connecticut last year when they released new frameworks that are based on inquiry education. It's related to the Connecticut Core, relates to the Connecticut Core. And what we really feel encourages social studies teachers, because for a long time we were working under state frameworks that were, for up to 10 years, we were working under state frameworks that were only a draft. And with changes up at the state level, it seemed like social studies education was not a priority. And the state really picked up by hiring a social studies consultant in Steve Armstrong, who really was able to orchestrate and pull together a really up-to-date framework for districts to model and work off of to meet the needs of the students in the district. So an inquiry is a great way to capture kids' interests and relate it to not just events happening now, but connect it to things that have happened in the past.
Well, I guess my read of the curriculum book was that really does seem to be reflected, that the committee seemed to really be trying to address some of that, which is terrific.
And the expectation is that the teachers are actually going to follow the curriculum.
Well, right.
You know, that's-
With support through professional development and supervision and evaluation from their principals, yes, absolutely.
Hopefully don't get bogged down in Antietam or somewhere else.
Oh, and it was those plastic overheads, and he had a charcoal pencil, and it was X's for each shoulder. It was painful at best. An important period to study, but it just unfortunately.
There are others.
There are others, and also we lost the great learning potential when we hit the fourth or fifth individual battle.
So is there any other questions? Or is there a motion that relating to this?
Move to accept.
Motion to accept?
I'll second that.
Okay, any other discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much.
And I want
Thank
to
you.
apologize. I didn't connect that that's why you were here tonight. I thought you were here just watching.
It was great, but it was great for me to
I
watch
would've-
You
because
have
it's
been here for a long time.
You've been here for a long time. I just missed it.
Thank you so much.
Mr.
Thank you.
Reminded me,
Well, thank
gee, you
you.
should have moved him up a little earlier. I said, yeah, no kidding. I should have moved him. I didn't connect it. I'm sorry. I apologize. But
No,
if you want to
no,
come in
no,
late
no,
tomorrow,
thank you.
you can.
It's all Mr. Masick.
No,
Thank you,
you may
thank
want
you.
to come in late, but no.
Ralph, thank you.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you to the committee as well for
Yes,
working.
absolutely. 10.3 is receive for possible action is the district priorities, I think.
Yes, you had those in your packet. Those are in as an exhibit.
Right.
And I believe there's another format in your folder.
Right.
We bring these to you every year. We spent a great deal of time going over these as a leadership team at our administrative retreat this summer. We have already presented these as a draft to our teaching staff at Convocation, and I know that our principals have referred to these in those opening days of professional development that we talked about. And the essential message within these has also been highlighted in an Our Direction that we have posted to our website. I'll point out that the first three priorities have stayed essentially the same over the last several years, and I recognize that as a real strength. In some of the earlier data presentations tonight, we talked about focus over time, generating results. So without going into great detail, we have wordsmithed these every year, but essentially, priority number one speaks to the learning environment that we strive to create for the students in this school system. Priority one says that students will be engaged in academically rigorous tasks in every class. Instruction will be aligned to content area standards. integrated with the principles of learning and measured by ongoing assessment and observations shaped by the Guilford Framework for Teaching and Learning. Now, some components of that have been in place for close to a decade now. Our reliance on the principles of learning to articulate what we believe is important about learning, that's been here for going on 10 years. The Guilford Framework for Teaching and Learning was created by teachers and board members. Barbara Dudley participated in the work that led to that, and principals have used it for 4 years now to shape classroom experience. We know that this is the kind of environment we want for our students in the classroom, and again, we believe that we've made good decisions and our teachers have done quality work, and we think we're seeing the results of that. Priority 2 speaks to the professional environment that we strive to create so that our teachers can shape that learning environment in Priority 1 for their students. Teaching and learning will be supported by instructionally focused leadership, subject area coaches and specialists, professional learning communities, and instructional resources. And we believe that that gets to what a teacher in a classroom needs. They need to be supported by a principal who understands the importance of learning in the classroom. We've talked a couple times tonight about the impact of coaches and specialists. We know that teachers learn best in a collaborative setting, just like their students. They need to have time to work with each other, and we need to get the right materials into their hands so that they can do the work. And then Priority 3, for years now, has spoken to the overall climate and environment that we strive to create, that our schools will be safe, healthy, and caring places for learning built upon supportive relationships and positive decision-making. Those have changed only minimally, and again, it's been a matter of wording each year, and I think they get better every year as we continue to refine them. Every year, what tends to be new, not wholly new, but the initiatives we bring forward every year, those are the annual areas in which we want to focus and make those priorities come alive in our classrooms. We're particularly proud of the initiatives that we're putting in front of you tonight because of the way they stack on each other. Last year, we focused on the work of our professional learning communities. Dr. Borland told us that our teachers here know their work, but we need to continue to provide them with the space and the time to collaborate with each other, to look at data, use data to create good questions about their practice, to experiment with practice in the classroom, and then debrief with each other to refine that practice. We didn't address that, correct it, and check it off of our list last year. We addressed it, we started to dig into it, and we know that there's more work to be done, and we want to continue to work on that initiative this year. This year, what was new is we began to look at some research out of IFL. It's research that IFL has aggregated together about 3 identified high-leverage instructional practices. IFL has done some really impressive work looking at academically productive talk. It is sort of accountable talk 2.0, how to make sure that students are learning through their talk in the classroom. Effective feedback. We began working in district really deeply with feedback, both teacher feedback and peer feedback last year, and then writing to learn. And this was really sort of the focus of Convocation this year, was rolling out these 3 high-leverage practices to the full staff. The leadership team spent some time unpacking them at the end of last school year, worked more deeply on them during the retreat this summer, and we are really excited to continue rolling those strategies or practices out across the school year. Again, a repeat, not new. We know that we need to continue to support math instruction through content-focused professional development. We have touched on that on more than one occasion earlier this evening. We know that we need to continue to look at how best to use assessment to inform and guide instruction, and not just summative assessments like the big annual score, but a balance of formative and summative assessments spread across the school year. And the board is not surprised that we talked about this last year. We have impaneled another task force this year. George Cooksey from the high school will be facilitating a conversation in the district to talk about the appropriate uses and design and expectations for homework in our school system. When I look at these initiatives, I draw your attention to the first 3 bullets. They're the 3 legs of professional development. The first bullet talks about professional practice, how our teachers are working collaboratively as professionals and as instructors. The second bullet talks to pedagogy, instructional strategy that crosses subject areas. And the third bullet speaks to the importance of specific content. And we know that math continues to be an area that we want to focus on. Those are the three different components of professional development. If we focus on content, if we improve our pedagogy, and if we work cooperatively and effectively as professionals, we've got everything. And this year, our initiatives include a focus on each of those components. And what I like about the high leverage practices is they help our staff see how they come together and how there is coherence and not, you're not being pulled in three different directions. There's clear coherence among those three. Instruction needs to be informed by thoughtful assessment, and we need to know how the home component fits into that as our school systems evolve and as students spend as much time learning outside of school as they do in school. And again, we touched on that with a TED Talk during convocation. The Our Direction component speaks to all of these components. This is all going to be important work for us this year, regardless of how the board chooses to comment on, modify, adjust your priorities and initiatives moving forward. We bring these to you humbly this year, asking for your support and your input, but also we're really excited. These have been refined and honed over years. They have really aligned very well this year. We had great feedback from both the administrative team and then from the teaching staff following convocation as people are recognizing the coherence that is really beginning to get baked into the work that we're doing here. People are recognizing a through line year from year to year as we continue this work, and it's getting sharper, not more diffuse from year to year. So we share these with you. We're excited about the form they're in, and we look forward to your input and hopefully support.
Okay. I'm gonna make a suggestion, given the hour that it is, and also I want to remind everybody, we do have an executive session tonight on
Correct.
negotiations, which is not insignificant.
Non-trivial this time.
Non-trivial, correct. I'm going to, given that the importance of this, and that we always have done a little bit of working on it, I think it's probably something that, unless there's an objection, which I would. Do you object, Mr. Sands, that we put this over to the next meeting? And why don't we put it over on the workshop meeting agenda?
think
just
that's
to-
I think
Yeah.
that's the right
That is
place
perfect.
for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then we can
the
talk about it.
workshop.
Does anybody
Yeah.
disagree?
No, it's good.
No, I think that's
Fine.
I think that's a
And
great
that will give
suggestion.
people time to think about it, to ask questions.
And if you have
review it.
comments, or
Yeah.
share them with Dr. Keene, and maybe we can try to tackle it at the next workshop meeting.
Perfect.
Great suggestion. Thank you.
Okay. It was sort of the obvious suggestion, given the
But
the
we
time.
appreciate it all the same.
Yes.
Yeah, 10.4 is to approve a donation of $4,252 from the Guilford High School Football Touchdown Club to be used as a salary for an assistant coach. Is there a motion we approve that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Questions? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's
Very precise number for a.
Well, I
for
gather
a
that's based
teaching
on
It
something.
is the contractually identified salary.
Yeah.
So they're covering the salary that would otherwise be covered by our budget.
And that actually, as I recall, was something that we took out of the
$52.
budget, wasn't it?
It was, that was initially proposed in our initial budget. It was pulled out of the budget as one of the rounds, as a cut made during one of the rounds of cutting.
Again, just keep this in mind when people talk about pay to play during budget season, but in any event. 10.5 is approve a donation of $1,080 from the Guilford High School dance team for a choreographer.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Terrific. Committee reports, policy committee?
Policy committee meets in 2 weeks before our workshop meeting, so we will have much more to discuss after that.
Operations?
Nothing we haven't covered.
Okay. Curriculum, instruction, and assessment, we've got a,
Got a meeting scheduled?
October.
The only thing I might just add on that is the homework committee, which does meet for the first time this Wednesday, at 3:30 to 5. I think Gary and I are both joining that committee. I think you maybe just for the first half hour. But I've encouraged my children and anyone else out there watching TV to let me know about their thoughts on homework. I'm interested to hear. I think one of the things, I'm interested to know how much data we have on what we're doing. We'll see what's going on at the actual meeting, but.
After they've met a couple of times, can we get a report from, are you going to be
course.
heading that, Dr. Keene, or?
No,
or-
George could.
Well, I mean, are you?
But I'm going to, yes.
I
I'm
mean,
the
not heading it, but I mean, are you
Yeah.
going to be the liaison, if you
Yes.
will?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe we could get some updates.
And scheduled for a full conversation with this board at a CIA meeting in January, I believe. But yes,
Right.
we'll give you updates along the way.
Okay.
There is also a
Chris and I
face
will be
group,
at every meeting.
Facebook group of parents who are interested and concerned about homework, and they've been actually posting some very interesting articles on that page, so make, anybody who
think I'm a
is
member
on
of that, the
Facebook,
parents
okay,
group. Okay, I just
okay.
need
Been a lot of interesting conversation about it broadly over the summer. So we identified this at the end of last school year, and there's been a lot of writing about it over the summer. Lots of school districts talking about it, lots of interest in the topic. It's risen to the top of the educational agenda again.
Building committee, I
I
don't,
have nothing to share.
I don't think there's anything going.
We do expect completion of the turf field in mid to late October. That's all I have to share.
Town committee liaisons, anything going on, town committees wise, right? Learn, have they met?
Yeah, unfortunately, I was out of town on Thursday. I did not make the initial meeting, but yeah, I will update you as soon as I get there, I think October.
Okay. Public questions, I'm going to predict that there are no public questions. Item 13 is executive session relating to negotiations for teachers, clerical, para, custodial, and administrators. So is there a motion that we go into executive session relating to those matters?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we will then go into executive session. When we come out of executive session and go back into public session, that will be solely for the purposes of adjournment, and we will have no further public votes this evening. Thank you.